Today on Enigma's Analysis, we review Spider-Man Far From Home. All the Marvel heroes have been blipped back into existence from Thanos' purgatory that he sent them to, and that just happens to include Spider-Man and every single person who's close to him in his life, including his chubby best friend, his weird love interest, and his aunt, I guess. Actually, wait, was Aunt May blipped out? Doesn't matter. The point is, Peter Parker's back. He's 16 years old, and he's going on a high school class trip to, what's that? To Europe? What? What high school sends their 16-year-olds to Europe? I felt lucky if we got to go to an amusement park. What is Marissa Tomei playing a rich Aunt May who sends Peter to a private school or something? What? Okay, regardless, Peter Parker and company are going on a trip to Europe, so Spider Man wants to take a vacation. But does Spider Man ever get a vacation? Apparently not, because he has to fight some weird creatures popping up that are just loosely referred to as the elementals. Luckily for him, he's got S.H.I.E.L.D. to help him out, along with a new mysterious hero who the kids take to calling Mysterio. A word of warning up front, I didn't like Homecoming at all. I know everyone else did, but I was just wondering why Mary Jane was some surly, vaguely gothy character who really didn't do anything, and why Peter Parker, the supposedly nerdy loser of the high school, was casually dating some pretty popular girl who he was kind of a jerk to. Also, Aunt May didn't really do anything other than be surprisingly hot. But I digress. The point is, Far From Home kind of had an uphill battle with me, given that I didn't like its predecessor. Having said that, I largely enjoyed this one, definitely more so than Homecoming. Tom Holland is great, like he was in the first one. He's dreamy and sweet and harmless. And Jake Gyllenhaal is typically compelling in his role as Mysterio. If the elementals sound like kind of boring ideas for supervillains, well, don't worry about it. It's a non issue. Wink, wink. Remember, no spoilers. There's not a whole lot profound to say about what works about this movie. Mary Jane, weird though she may be, is much more vital to this story than the last one. Aunt May's still just kind of there. There are some visually engaging action scenes, even if we don't quite get the knockdown, drag 'em out brawls that we kind of hope for in superhero movies these days. And Peter Parker's the lovable dork that we want him to be. I'm looking at you, Andrew Garfield. And in terms of just getting from point A to point B and keeping the viewer entertained, hey, this movie works. So that's it, right, Mr. Enigma? Great movie. You should go see it. 5 out of 5, right? Uh, Not quite. See, Far From Home has a little something that I like to call Dark Knight Rises syndrome. Remember Dark Knight Rises? Sure you do. It's the sequel to the almost perfect Dark Knight, and in a lot of ways it was just as awesome as The Dark Knight, except for one huge problem. And by one huge problem, I mean a bunch of huge problems. Plot hole after plot hole after plot hole after plot hole. Or even if you don't want to call them that, let's call them leaps in logic. Seriously, Christopher Nolan, I love your films, maybe more than any other director, but can you please make sure that they actually make sense? I mean, I do own a copy of Interstellar, but good lord, plot holes! Far From Home has one or two really big twists that are admittedly very entertaining and intriguing on paper. But when you actually start sizing up how realistic they are and everything that happened before to make it work and make it make sense, I'm not sure how much it actually works. Think of the twists in Fight Club or The Sixth Sense. Unquestionably interesting when they happen. But then the next time you go back and watch the movie, you find yourself going, hey, wait a minute, what? A lot of people aren't going to care about that because a lot of people just shut their brains off when they watch movies, particularly action movies. But unfortunately for me, I can never shut my old noggin off. No, seriously, I can't ever do it. They make pills for that, right? Please help me. That's about as much as I can say without spoiling anything. And if you have seen the movie, feel free to comment below and let me know if I'm on the ball or I'm way off or overthinking it. Oh, and as you might expect, there's two scenes at the end during the credits, one of which lets us know that there's still plenty of intriguing storylines going forward in the Marvel Universe. So until someone can rationalize me into a higher review, I have to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it, but even in a superhero movie, my suspension of disbelief only goes so far. Also, I gotta say, I'm not really sold on why Peter Parker would be sold on this version of Mary Jane. She doesn't show 1 ounce of charm until the second half of the movie, and this is the second movie she's been in. So that's my nitpicky verdict. If you like the video, let me know. Subscribe to my channel. Enigma out.